We are live.
Okay.
Hello.
Hey, oh, me too.
Welcome to another House of Chair Girls show.
Welcome, welcome. Let me check it out on Facebook and link.
Hello, happy Sunday if you've joined us.
The link. I'm just getting the link. Sure.
Have you seen it yet?
Yeah, got it.
Just refresh. Yeah. Needs to see. Can be anything. Podcast is live. Where are you?
You're dropping that in HOC.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday and thank you for joining us. Okay. I haven't found it yet, guys, but as soon as it comes up, then I'll share it on my own personal page. I'm still loading.
Got it. I'm
Hi
just sharing.
again. Thanks for joining us. Welcome to another show with the House of Chair Girls. So, in the past couple of weeks, we have been talking about relationships, right? We've been talking again, Valentine's Day is coming. And so we thought it was necessary for us to come out here and kind of change gears a little bit, shift gears a little bit, and talk about relationships. Maybe talk about our own little experiences that we've had, our own little nuggets that we can give to anybody that cares to listen about relationships and all of that. And so today is another of such days. The last 2 weeks, we have talked about how we commit some of the things that, or the way relationships have evolved. Again, we've also talked about how the approach, right? How the approach that how the way a man will approach a woman, how those things have evolved over time and the kinds of things we are seeing today. And so today we are shifting gears a little bit and we want to talk about some of those things that, again, we just say some of the tricky questions that you want to, would think are advisable, that would be nice to ask someone that you're dating or someone that when you're ready to commit, right? When it's time to commit, when you think that you want to commit to a relationship or commit to being with somebody, what are some of the things that are important to talk about? Ice, correct me if I'm wrong. That's what we're talking about today, yeah?
Yeah, some of those questions. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining. Yeah, just some of those questions that is advisable for us to be able to ask while before you ask before you commit to a relationship. Some of those questions might be based on your age, and some might just be so they are mostly based on your age and maybe your age and what you're looking for. So it depends on certain factors.
Yep, that's right. So that's what we want to talk about today. What are some of those things? Yes, just as Ice mentioned, age plays a role, right? When we were younger, or when one that is listening, when you're younger, there are certain things that will not prick your mind. There are certain questions that you'll be like, oh wow, wow, we're talking about this now. And but as you get older, the truth is that your values change. In the last show, there was something we talked about, and I think Ice corrected me on something that I said, which is about people changing. And so what I threw out there was like people will not really change, but Ice came in and made the correction that circumstances, experiences, age changes people, right? It also changes people's mentality, the way people think about things, the way people see life. There are things that your 23-year-old self did that your 33-year-old self will not do, right? There are things that at 23 years, you probably thought like, oh, I can't stand that. I cannot deal with that. But today, you have matured. At 33, you've matured. So I'm just using a 10 years gap, right? At 33, you've matured, and it's going to kind of change, right? So again, that is that change we're looking at here, and that's why we are factoring in age when it comes to this. Some of the questions I will be discussing, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and just to add to what you out, or just to add to that, these questions are open like both sexes, not because of females. I mean, there are questions that just women are supposed to ask, so can come from both sides.
yes, that's correct. So this is because we are ladies doesn't mean that all what we are saying is geared towards that. Oh, hi Zamani Fritz. Thank you so much for joining. It's a pleasure to have you. Happy Sunday to you too. Thank you. Yes, I see him in the comment section. So that is what. So again, when we're talking of these dates, what are some of the things that you want to consider? You want to, some of them I personally find annoying, but the truth is that if you really want to commit, if this is time for you to say, hey, this is a person I want to spend the rest of my life with, or this is a person I want to get into that engagement with in order to know if they're right for me, I bet you want to ask these questions. So, Eyes, I'm going to throw it at you right away. What's the first thing on your mind?
For me, thinking about this, and this for me doesn't base age. A question that I'll ask is there anybody in your life that would think you're not single? Do you have any situationships? Do you have anybody just in case that they feel like you are not single because you have either a relationship or a situationship with them? Because most of the time we feel like we're out of a relationship, but we did not notify the other person clearly, hey, I'm not more into this, and you move on with your life. Meanwhile, the other person hasn't moved on. So that's a question I'm going to ask a few, and it must not be that. So even if you're trying to get into a new relationship or engage in something new, sometimes we say, hey, I am out of this. You come out, you pull yourself out of a relationship, but that person is is still with you, like in their mind they know they're still in a relationship with you. But then in such, if you've clearly communicated that I don't want with that person, that I don't want to be in this anymore, it's okay for you to move on, but then that communication needs, that clarity is supposed to be there. So that's a question I'm going to ask. And it
Yeah,
doesn't, I
great.
don't.
And then yeah, so at this point, that one doesn't, it's not dependent on age, right? So that's one of the questions that has nothing to do with age. It doesn't matter what age you are. There, again, you just said something that I think is very significant because sometimes we excuse ourselves from relationships. We are like, hey, you know what? I'm so done with this person. But you have not communicated it to that person. In that person's head, they're like, hey, you know what? That is still my girl. Or in the girl's head, that is still my guy, right? You just move ahead and you live your life and you forget to, you've not communicated it, but you're just probably, I think I've experienced something like that. Somebody just gets cold on you without necessarily telling you that, hey, you know what? This thing, I think that this thing is not working. And I, if you ask me, I would say that it is a really, it's not a good place to leave someone. Based on my experience, I think that it's not a very good place to leave somebody because it is very painful when somebody sees and they don't know that you have grown cold feet, right? And you just walk away and begin your life somewhere else. So this ties back down to the whole idea that it is good to ask someone before you get committed with them or committed with, if there is anybody in their life that considers, that doesn't consider them as single. Because in my
Yeah.
case, if somebody came to me at that time and asked me if that guy was single, I would say, no, he's not single. That is my guy, right? But in his mind, he is done with me. You get it? But it, so I think it is a very honest question. It's a very good question because it helps to build honesty in a relationship. right?
Yeah.
And it helps you to know, you're like, hey, do I want to go ahead with this? Is this something that I want to do? Or another thing is you might want to have that conversation and say, hey, you need to go clear that out. I have
Yeah.
done that to a friend, like advise a friend, like, hey, you know what? Before you commit with this other person, it is important that you have a chat with that previous person and tell them that, hey, you know what, this is not working. So we are cutting, let's go our separate ways. Because again, I'll not lie to you, my experience was not good. And whenever I come across anything like that, I try to encourage people. It might be painful because what my friend told me was, oh, I don't want to hurt them. I don't want them to be hurt. I'm like, no, that time will heal. No, time does not heal things like that. Let them know, because as soon as you let them know, they'll be able to heal from you letting them know that it's not, we are no longer together, instead of letting them just discovering and healing is going to take longer. So yes, I do agree that asking somebody that question is very, very important. A quick shout out there. Hey, CJ Steak Podcast. Thank you so much, my brother. Thanks so much, my podcast brother, for joining us today. We appreciate your time. Thank you. And again,
Yeah.
do
And
not hesitate to put your thoughts in the to put your own thoughts in the comment section. We are open to reading other people's comments and seeing what you think about this. So CJ, I want to hear some of those questions that you've been asking that babe, or that babe I've been asking you, because I see you. Remember. Yes, eyes, go ahead.
yeah. So maybe this is a good time to place the fun question like, if tell us about the worst date that you've had. What made it the a bad date? What makes a date a bad date? Your something that is going to be,
Yeah.
and put it in the comment section. What makes a date a bad date for you?
Yeah. What according to you is a bad date? While we are looking at the comments, yes, CJ, I see you. So you probably want to contribute here. Ice, maybe you should throw something. What according to you is, oh, well, would you say that you've had a bad date before, and what made it bad? Again, you could have or you could not have.
Not
You could not.
experience, because some most of the time I've not been in a situation where I really go on a date with somebody that I've not known a little bit before stepping out. And you know the phrase that they always make, that most of the time you get married to, or you get into a relationship or date somebody just around your block. And your block in this situation might mean so many things. Maybe somebody in your community, somebody in your circle of friends, a friend's friend. So there are certain things that you're aware of before even going out to that extent. But then, just to continue with the questions that we're supposed to ask now, if you feel like you've gotten to a certain age where you want to commit in a relationship, you want something that is going to last longer, you want to start thinking about questions like, for me, I'll start thinking of questions like, what does family really mean to you? Do you value family? That's a big question for me, because you don't want to get into a relationship with somebody and either they don't care about their family or they don't respect your own family, because family is super huge for me. And I like to always be with somebody that values that aspect of life. Yep.
Awesome. Before we get into the depth of the family talk, let's see what CJ's Take Podcast has for us. So CJ says, I'm a conversationist. Will A bad date to me will simply be a person who cannot keep an intelligent conversation going. I immediately zoom out and get bored and basically just want to leave. A person like that will never get a second date from me. So, to CJ, you need to have a conversation, right? Which I think makes a lot of sense. Ice, I know you've always talked about this conversation thing. Throw some light on that.
Important, like intelligent conversation, it varies, right? It might just be intelligent conversation around your niche. So but then having very lame conversations is boring for me. You're talking about people, you're talking about other people, you're just talking about something that doesn't add value to either you or myself. I zoom out as well. I quickly just get bored. And first of all, if I even have to go on a date with you, I'll need to talk to you 2 or 3 times to pick. If I see that that's you can construct conversation, you want to always argue, if you want to disagree, you disagree with some kind of, I can't just, just that deed will not even happen. So
Okay, I see CJ agrees with you. I knew that you were going to have something to say on the whole conversation thing, and he definitely agrees with you. And that's probably why he actually put that like intelligent conversation, because it's not only about talking, right? It's about talking intelligently, talking about things that will add value to either person, right? Instead of just talking about, it's common and sometimes sweet when you talk about other people, though, but maybe not on a date.
just that, if you don't have, not everybody do have the ability to speak intelligently. People learn to get to that level, but if you can just listen and ask good follow up questions, so that leading the conversation, it makes it very interesting as well. Sometimes you just have to be a good listener, listen and ask follow up questions, and it makes a conversation interesting as well.
Oh, great. That's a good tip out there. I think that's a really good tip, because sometimes if somebody reads CJ's comment, the person will be like, "Oh, what do you mean by intelligent conversation? What do you want to come and talk to me about something that may be what is intelligent to you? That person is not very familiar with that concept or something, right?" So listening, paying attention, listening, and asking follow-up questions will definitely be a good way to
And
to continue the interaction. So I think that that's a good one. Thank you. Thank you so much for contributing, CJ. Again, I had something to follow up. And we have another comment from Charles. Charlie, I salute you, grand frère. So Charles says, a date is bad when riddled with arguments or complaints, which are neither here nor there, and in a sense shallow. So yes, so this is again, this still goes around the conversation, talking, right? And you get why would you even be arguing on a date? Like, like one person has to bow. You have
and
to
for
agree to disagree.
the complaint part, get to a restaurant, you complain about the waiter, the food, the ride, everything. That is enough, because you complain about everything. Like, get over it and move on, right?
Yep, I
Complain,
think yeah.
they turn off as well. Complaints, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree with that. Like, hey, the food isn't good. Oh, did you see that waiter? Everything about the whole outing is bad. And I think it just makes it just turns the environment a little sour and it doesn't work. So, again, we've seen these are great. Again, thanks, Charles and CJ, for your contribution. These are some examples of bad dates. And so, at the same time, as we're talking through these things, we are also learning and again hoping that other people watching and listening will learn from this as well. So before we went into the comments to take some of the comments, we were talking about family. You did talk about family, but you talked about family. Family is a very big topic, right? You talked about it. I think you talked about it about, hey, family is important to me. The way you talked about it is more like, hey, I am important to your siblings, your parents, your aunties, your uncles are important to you. These are people that you respect, and you want to be with somebody that values those kinds of relationships as well, right? But on the other side, I also want, if you don't mind, to talk a little bit on the side of family, like building, making your own family, right? There are people out here who are not, they don't want to have kids. There are people
Yeah.
out here who just want to be with you, right? They just want to marry you, be with you, and do what they have to do. They don't want to have children. So that's another side. If you don't mind, I'll let you talk on that.
Yeah, before I get there, please, if you're watching, please share and like the video. Share the video so we can get more viewers. Thank you. So when I talked of family, first meant I didn't mean just the traditional family. I meant your community. Your community can be your friends as well, your village people, right? Your
They better not come after you.
your village people and your village community. In this concept, I'm not talking about people coming from the same geographical area. Your village,
Or
a village
lineage, okay, or bloodline. Mhm. Okay.
lineage. So yeah, the question of family kind of spans to, like, do you want to have kids in the future? Are kids
Mhm.
something that you're looking to get into? Because sometimes we miss, there is this thing, we quickly jump from the like to the love stage, but we miss a level in a relationship called the learning stage. We just jump. Oh, yes, I like this person. I'm attracted to this person. Then I just love this person. No, what is there is something missing. There are three L's: learn, and love. We always miss that learn, which is where you have to ask these questions. And these questions are not questions that you just ask on the go. Do you want to have kids? Yes or no? They are things you'd actually talk about. And what I've noticed is people don't want to talk about things like that. People just, oh yeah, of course I want to have kids. Oh yeah, but then you don't know what it really means, especially in this country. I don't have kids yet, but I have siblings with kids, and I know and I see what it takes to take care of kids. You have to think about it. Is it something that you want? Then if you want it, then you can start even talking about planning for the number. And kids are
Mhm.
expensive. The state and anyway, kids are expensive. So you have to think
Everywhere.
goes beyond after you've accepted or after you've decided that, hey, we want kids. What does it take for us to take care of these kids? What are your plans? What are you, now you can bring in the question, which I know can is sometimes annoying to you in particular, Solange, like what do you do? So that question, bad or a bad question, depending on when and how the question is asked.
Yeah, again, after talking to you, and again, this is some of the things that, as we just talked about earlier on, people's minds evolve, right? People change. Your mentality, the way you look at things change. That has always been a very annoying question to me. What do you do? I just don't like it. I shut down when I meet somebody for the first time. And the first thing they ask me is, what do you do? I don't like that question. And what that question does to me is that it gives me the impression that you want to use what you want to determine how you're going to treat me based on what I do. And I don't just like it. As time goes on, it's getting better. And again, after talking about this with you and looking at it from where you're coming, right? Like, hey, you're in a relationship with somebody, you want to decide if you want to commit with this person, then that's a good question to ask. I was watching a show recently, and so again, I tell you that I'm a fan of singles. Singles show. I like those kinds of things where people call in to say, "Hey, I'm this. I'm looking for this." And our own Cameroonian lady, I saw Roy Mama. Shout out to Roy Mama. She's been one of my guests on the podcast as well. She has actually started a singles show, which sometimes when I catch, I'm very excited. So people can come on that call. You can come on that show and call and say, hey, you know what? I'm a single woman this age. This is what I like. These are some of the deal breakers. I'm looking for a man that meets this criteria and stuff. I like those things. I love the fact that you give people the opportunity to put themselves out there, and you also let people, like, I can see a guy there or a guy sees me if I call on there and say, hey, let's talk. Then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So tying back to this, if you ask me, when somebody said on one of these kinds of shows that she was interested in a man that if you're a single man, and her first comment was, it is very common for that almost okay wait let me put this in perspective. This was a Black American talking, right? So she said, men, it is very common that almost all 33-year-old men in America have children, majority. So that is what she said. And she said, if you're attracted to her, you need to be able, if you're single, you should make at least $60,000, $60,000 annually, right? But if you have children, you must make at least $90,000. And I think it was a very intelligent ask. You get it? This is a girl that has come online and say, hey, I have my things together. I have my life. I'm looking for a man. I don't have any children. But if a man is interested in me and has children, I want you to make sure that you have this amount of money. But if you don't have children, I can deal with this amount of money. That is crystal clear. I like it when people talk like that. That is what she wants, and we got to respect what people want. Get it? So I don't mind that question if it comes from if it comes from at that level of a relationship, that you're like, hey, you know what? Before we commit, what do you do? What do you make? How much do you make? Because it is important to determine where you people are gonna, like, where do you want to live? All those kinds of things. You get it?
Yep.
Yeah. So
And
again, sorry, I talked a little longer on that.
friends, do you are we going to? Because I don't want to be up the tab if it shows that was a joke. So also, if you're online watching, please tell us the question ask. These are just some suggestions that we're bringing out. Just drop the type of questions that you either asked before you got committed, because I know there are married people watching and people in already committed relationships watching, and single people. What type of questions are you going to ask? I see. Can you take Uncle Larry's comments, please?
Yes, Mamulu says she cannot see the share button. Swipe your screen a little bit. Or watch on the You Can Be Anything podcast, so that you'll see that you can be able to share it. Maybe you're watching from either Isis page or mine. So make sure that
Yeah.
just click on You Can Be Anything podcast and make sure you're watching from the live broadcast. So Daddy Mulu says just joining the show because okay, a hectic lesser this. So you see, people are celebrating love already, and that's why we are talking relationship and love here. So it looks like he and his wife had a wonderful time at the Lesser DC Valentine's Day party last night. So yeah, we are. Oh God, he's commenting about my gray hair. Thank you, Daddy Mulu. Age doesn't hide, you see. Thank you so much. Yes, we are hoping that you'll catch up with us. We are talking about some of the questions that are important to ask a woman or a man before you commit in a relationship. That's what we're talking about. And we have another comment from CJ. There is nothing wrong with having standards. That shows you are dating with intention. I'll easily consider a lady like that. There we go, CJ. You know, these days when you have your standards, they think that they say you the high up, right? So standards have become something that they qualify it as that girl or that boy the high. But I do believe that it is important and very necessary to have standards. Sometimes relationships and marriages fail because people just jump into it and it's really not what they want. So I do agree with the whole standards. As you're making me seem like I'm talking too much because you don't want to take comment.
Add to CJ's comment.
Mhm.
Like, I have my standards, right? And if somebody cannot meet those standards and we were incompatible, it doesn't really mean that that person not person has the
A
reflection of
defect, a deficiency or something.
worthless. It's just because you
Mhm.
have people. When somebody says these are my standards, these are things I know I cannot tolerate, or these are the things that I don't want to be able to do, it doesn't mean that you that is coming into that relationship, if you can't meet those standards, that you're worthless or you don't meet a certain level of self-worth. We have different principles, so that's just what I wanted to add. Sorry, on that comment.
And your big brother Vali says in the West, marriage, commitment, partnerships, etc. These are economic contracts. Argue with your ancestors. Okay, I don't have an answer to that. You want to respond to him?
To Let's talk about, like, let's use the example of the lady that said, um I need, if you have a child, you need to have be earning at least 90,000 a year. If you don't,
Yes,
let's be real.
that's
If
economic, right? Yeah.
But if you've worked so hard on yourself, right, and you've gotten to a level that you don't want to go beyond that level again, you'll be looking for somebody that can actually match that, somebody that you can build together. In as much as we're talking about soulmate, the love of my life, we also want, when reality sets in, you need somebody that you can pay those bills together. You need somebody that you can do those. That economic part actually makes your relationship sweeter. It's true. I
Yeah.
agree with what there is a part of it that is, we have to think about that love, but also economy big part of relationship, especially in the West. You
But again, how would you even have a relationship without? Again, we all know that some of majority of the problems that people have in relationships and marriages, most of the time, right, it will come from economic things. right? Like this person, most of the time when people just complain about stuff, it's about things like this. And that's why it is a smart thing to ask. And that's why sometimes when you hear these relationship coaches and experts, they'll ask you, if you want, what kind of man are you looking for? Should the man make a certain amount of money, right? Because there are some people who are somewhere, they're looking for someone to elevate them. There are some people who are in a place where they're looking for someone to make sure that their level, their standard of living doesn't change, to maintain them, right? Nobody wants to be in a partnership or a relationship or in a commitment that will instead bring them down. Nobody wants, I don't think anybody wants that. Just looking at the natural flow of things in life. So, of course, that is true to an extent, but we still try to encourage Valentine's Day Valley. So because love should also play a part. Okay. So there we go. And positive mindset, it was a great one for the Nashville, Tennessee. Yes. Just as Mr. Mulo and the rest in DC were enjoying themselves at the lesser DC, the Nashville Enjoyment Committee also had a Valentine's Day party, and I bet you all have an amazing time, King Kong. Thank you so much for joining. We have one more question, then we can go. We have one more comment, then we can go to the next topic, eyes. And Vali again says, question one: are you looking for soul? What are you looking for? Soul food or eye candy? That sets the tone and expectations are known from the onset.
Yeah. Yep. That's true.
Hmm,
That's
I
true.
agree.
Yeah.
That I agree.
Yep. So
Eye candy is good though. It feels like he's asking me that question. Yeah, I agree. That's good. Yeah. So Jersey says Nashville Enjoyment Committee had a Valentine's Day party last night, Mamulu. That's what King is talking about. So yes, Ice, we've spoken about family, and again, as a good topic to bring up when you before you commit into a relationship. Um, I think we want a family which encompasses children as well. And we've also had the conversation about what you do. Like, what do you do should also be something that you want to be able to ask it in a very nice and polite way. Nice and polite way, I think so. Then you were going to talk about religion. Do you want to throw some more light on that? To be able to bring up religion also as a topic of discussion before you commit.
yes, it's for me. It's a big question too. It's a big question. What are your thoughts around religion? Like, are you somebody that you don't believe in anything, or you believe? Who do you believe in, or what do you believe? So that's a big question for me because you don't want to commit to something that because we always have this assumption that maybe especially from the African side, everybody is religious or to belong to one denomination,
Or the
and
other.
that question is overlooked, but I think it's an important one. So it's a question that I'll ask.
Yeah, and you're going because you've actually used the example of Africa. I'll say yes. It was until I left Cameroon that I actually became open to the fact that somebody will stand and tell you that they are atheist, right? That they
Yeah,
don't believe in God. So it's not something that I was very versed with before leaving Cameroon. So it's something that I had to actually learn and know that, hey, this is something important to talk. If you ask me back in my days or back in my young adult days, I'll tell you that what you want to know is this person Catholic? Is this person Protestant? Is this person? That is what mattered. That is how we looked at it. That's what was important to us. But in the kind of world we are living in today, it is also important to ask those questions because there are some people who really don't belong, who don't believe in Jesus Christ, and you want to know that before you don't want to get in a shock when you're
yeah,
already committed and stuff. So it's important to ask those religious questions as well, like or belief questions. Let me put it that way. What do you believe in? And
yeah,
things like that. So, yep, I'll agree that that's also a good one. So, and just because we've talked about this and because it's something that is very different from where we come from, right? The one thing that is also important these days to ask people is their gender, right? Because I was talking to Charlene. I just text. I sent her a message yesterday, and I sent her a picture of someone. And I said, "Hey, can you believe that this person was born a girl, but he identifies to oh she he oh my God, have mercy on me. I'm still not, I don't know how to, or they identify they as a female, not as a male. And I bet you could see this guy, if you could meet this guy and you fall in love head over heels for, and you will like there is no sign on him when the physical that shows that this is a born girl that has transitioned to a man. So those are again for those of you who are living out in the world, who live in the gender has become something that you want to ask or you want to be sure what that your whoever you're talking to, what is their gender? Are they he, she, or they? You
Uh,
want to know those things because
uh,
we all
and
know where they're going to.
another one is pronouns.
Oh
What
yeah,
are your
not
pronouns? And if you don't know, I just use they because it's something that we've been at work. And now I don't like she, he, except I know that person. I will just like they. It's I'm trying to, especially in this society, just to use
yeah,
they.
and it's really hard. Imagine that in the course of a sentence, you have to use they, them. It's really hard. It's something that I've not really gotten used to. But again, as we say, it's as Mamulu says, yes, gender, especially in America, it's very important. It's not everybody you see dressed as a woman or dressed like a man that is actually a man biologically. So
Yeah.
that's also an important one to talk about. There was I see King has a comment up here. The key to building any relationship starts with us being able to see our own behavior clearly will help guide our intentions with others. Insight into our own patterns starts with silence. So, King, are you talking about silence to get to know yourself better before you can endeavor to know another person? I believe, yeah, I hope I interpreted that correctly. So please confirm in the comment if that's what you mean. I definitely agree. It always begins with us. It must begin with you. That's why I say you cannot love another person if you don't love yourself. It has to begin with self love. Then you can give that out. It has to begin with self care. Then you can give that care out. Yes, eyes.
Bet to just we just ignore Vali's last comment, and when moving forward, there is uh, there is something that we don't. He just yeah just
You see, that guy has the power to distract you, to take away everything from your brain. That is what he just did to you.
oh my, that's something really cool. Damn.
Sivali, you need to apologize. What did you just do?
Oh,
Yeah, so King agreed to my interpretation to his comment. So yes, thank you, King. I agree. Now Vali is laughing. Sorry, eyes. Hopefully you can remember what you wanted to talk about.
my God.
Oh my God, have mercy.
Oh, well,
We
continue
just
to
finished
put
talking about gender.
your questions in the your like. What are some of the weird questions that you've gotten from people, either like from women or men that have asked you that you're trying to like get to know them to be in a relationship with them? What are some of those questions that people will ask you? Like, put it those questions you consider weird. Put them in the comment section,
Please,
and
please
please
put them in the comments.
the
We
comments.
love
Yeah,
want to see some of the questions that someone has asked you before on a date, and you're
yeah,
like, what the heck? Are you even serious or something? So
yeah.
please share with us.
Yeah, and since I think we had just those points, we've exhausted the points. But then one other thing that I want to bring up for those people who are in relationships, how do you keep your relationship going? What do you do to keep your relationships interesting? And I know every day you just sometimes you look at your partner and just want to push them off the window. But what do you do to keep your relationships going interesting and feel like I want to be with this person every day, some most of the days, because it's not every day that you want to be with that person.
Yeah, and Valentine's Day is it's in 2 days. Do you celebrate Valentine's Day? Are you a believer, or are you one of those special perhaps people who say, "Hey, Valentine's Day is every day"? People who say Valentine's Day is every day are people who don't want to buy presents because Valentine's Day is Valentine's Day. So do you celebrate Valentine's Day? It's in 2 days. Tuesday is Valentine's Day, and that's why all over the, like, everywhere there were Valentine's Day parties all over the place, and people are celebrating love, celebrating their loved ones. Do you celebrate Valentine's Day? Do you have any special plans for Valentine's Day? And how does it work? How does it work for you? What did Wills the colon say? We don't already chop them. Okay. So you've already celebrated your Valentine's Day. And so this ties on to the enjoyment committee of Nashville, Tennessee, had their own Valentine's Day celebration yesterday. I hope that you people have fun. And Vali says his culture forbids that. What culture do you come from? Are you sure we come from the same culture? There is no culture. You are in no culture that forbids Valentine's Day. So you better go buy your wife some Valentine's Day presents. Don't say that. Your culture does not forbid celebrating love. You're an escapist.
So I have this question for women that are watching on. A man asks you like, normally, what do you say? What will you say, Solange, if a man asks you like, what do you like?
Now, what do I like? Like,
Yeah,
just what do I like just
yeah,
like anything?
like.
No, no. But what do you mean by what do you like? What do I like as
What do you
in
like?
what?
What do you like doing? What do you like eating? What do you like watching? What do you
But
like
that's too
anything?
much. You cannot just come and sit and ask me that. What do I like? Okay, your mom will answer for you. Shoes and purses and shoes. I don't even have an answer to that question.
To ask you like, what do you like? Like, what am I? Why do that? What do I
You mean
like?
for Valentine's Day
No,
or
generally,
generally?
body and they ask you, what do you like?
I like to drive a beautiful car. I like to drive high-end cars.
Mm.
What do I like? Yeah,
Because,
you see,
yeah, that's that most
it's.
women will just answer like you just did. Like, I like cars.
I don't
I
know how to
like.
answer that question. Please preach, preach, sister, preach.
That's a like, you used to set your expectation because when they ask, most of the time, I'm reading, and I was reading an article and that came up like, what do you like? And people always like they always have the tendency to say, I like to eat, I like nice cars, I like purses and shoes. I need the that question. I like a lot of things. But then in this article that I read, it was like in that situation you use that to set your expectation. You want to say something like, I like, if it's coming from a man's side or a woman's side. Say a woman asks that question to a man because it can be any. I like a woman that is thoughtful. I like a woman
Mhm.
that is treats a man special. I like a woman that is attentive. You're not telling that person what you like. You're setting
You're
an
like telling them what you like from them, what you like and get from them.
expectation. Like, these are the expectations that I have. So
Guys, that's politics.
it was
That
very
is
interesting.
politics. It's just that is very political.
And even when somebody asks you, even if the relationship already or you're married and somebody asks you, what do you like for Christmas? You can use that question to remind them that, hey, I want somebody that is thoughtful. I want somebody that is will treat me right.
I like.
Just remind them of your expectation. Don't Those material things will come. You can just force them to give you the material things, but you can use that question to expectations. I just wanted to bring that I read. I think it's very
Yeah,
interesting.
that's good. I think it's nice. I think it's very thoughtful, as you've said, right? It's a very thoughtful way to respond. But at the same time, if you have a man like Vali who is saying that, and you tell them that, then he's not going to buy you anything. Like, maybe you really actually like to get a purse and a shoe. He will be like, okay, you like that? Are you, if you have a man like him, you want to remind him sometimes I want shoes and
Also,
purses.
media, because men like him, they come and they say things like that and then go and be very thoughtful at the background. So watch out. Don't follow
No,
what the social media. They tend to
oh God.
queens and be very thoughtful with them, and they come and put things like that on Facebook. So be careful. Social media is a
All
scam.
right. Okay. We do appreciate everyone who has joined us. This has been amazing. Please continue to share the video. It's very fun that we're able to talk about love in a beautiful way as Valentine's Day is approaching. Throw out some nuggets out there to help guide you. For those of
Yep.
you who are already in relationships, I just gave you a nice way to actually set expectations to your partners by answering this question, how to answer this question. What do you like? For those of you who are still single, like I think these two beautiful girls out here, we sat and we thought about it. Like, you know what? What are some of the things that we are experiencing as single ladies, and some of the things that we can share with those who listen to us and give our own nuggets on what is happening in the single world? And that's what we've brought out to you today. I see. Can you see comments? Can you read your brother's comment?
Hey, my friend and brother Cyril, thanks for joining. That is a lover guy. Um, he brags about his wife every day. That should be a lucky woman. Most valleys comment. Most ladies like things that don't exist. Ladies like an athletic young guy with six pack who is romantic and has a heavy bank account. Yes, but sometimes how do you have a heavy bank account and have six packs? Because most people
And
have
still be
six
romantic.
and still be romantic. It's and here and I want to bring this right here because some women go out they ask what for one man to give them what a community should provide. Want to give them everything you're asking something that entire community should actually provide that from one man, so it can be daunting on just a single person. So I agree with you. Siri, welcome.
Okay.
But
Thank you for
also
joining, Cyril.
out of the heart the mouth speak it. Yep, speak it into existence. That's true.
Yep, and that's
But
why we're here, sharing our thoughts, sharing our what we think. And again, it's February. It's that time that you people Siri says most ladies want to get married but are not ready to be a wife. I think we have heard these things. So everybody wants to get married. It's not even at this age. You want to get married at a certain age. And I think that when you clock a certain age, Cyril, that mentality changes and subsequently everybody gets there. And even if it meets them while they're already in their marriage, they start asking themselves why they got married that early. So I think it's just a normal thing, especially based on culture, the way we are brought up. We are brought up to want to be married, right? And without thinking of the responsibilities that come with being married. So some of
yep,
the things we have to deal with. Mhm.
yep, I think we've clocked the top of the hour.
Yep.
Thank you very much for joining and thanks for the comment. It was very interesting. And maybe next week, I don't think people
Next week, Valentine's Day will be past. As you still want to talk love, this girl.
will not be talking about such topics. We're going to switch gears and go somewhere else. So,
Thank you. Love doctor. Thank you.
kind of enjoy your back, but have fun. Enjoy your Valentine's Day. Buy presents for your partners and wives and girlfriends and boyfriends and enjoy, have fun. Thank you. God bless you.
Yep. Thank you all so much. We appreciate your time, your support, your everything that you've done in here. It has been a very interactive one. So, Cyril, no worry. We'll get you on that great topic, but type in the hearty. We appreciate you so much. I know if I give you the mic, yes, Cyril will stay for another hour because you are one of those love doctors as well. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all and have a beautiful Valentine's Day. Oh,
Yep.
so thank you, Uncle Gabby. Uncle Gabby, happy Valentine's Day to you. Probably next week we might be talking with you, but let's see how we plan that. So please, if you're watching us today, make sure next week the same time you catch us online because we have some really exciting things on the pipeline that we would love to be sharing and with your people. So again, it's an amazing day. Happy Valentine's Day once again and
Happy
let love
fall.
reign.
Let love
Sure.
reign.
Bye bye.